our next installment of the Winnie the Pooh movie review series leading up to Goodbye Christopher Robin is Pooh's Heffalump movie. Even though Pooh is debatedly not the real main character of this movie, it's more like Roo's Heffalump movie. I just don't, I guess I had to have Pooh in there somewhere. Even though the Tigger movie and Piglet's Big movie didn't have Pooh, Winnie the Pooh in the title, and yet they were successful and made more money worldwide in the box office. So what's the plot of Pooh's Heffalump movie? Well, apparently Pooh and the gang seem to find out that there's probably a Heffalump around the premises. So Rabbit joins them all together so they can capture the Heffalump. And I don't really know what they were going to do next. Now there are a lot of third installments to films that are pretty incredible in my opinion. There's The Dark Knight Rises, Captain America Civil War, Logan if you can count that among the Wolverine trilogy. And you know, I think one of the best third installments in franchises is Kung Fu Panda 3. Yeah, that came out in January 2016 and everybody forgot it. And it's so deserved being nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Feature. But sadly, since it came out in January, but sadly there are also those third installments that are just pretty disappointing, seeing as how they didn't really live up to the greatness that was the first two films. That's Pooh's Heffalump movie. Now, granted, this movie isn't terrible. It's not the worst thing ever, but in my opinion, this is the weakest out of all the Winnie the Pooh movies. Before I jump into the negatives, I'm going to talk about some of the positives first. For one, the stuff between Kanga and Roo is actually very heartfelt. It's easily connectable, and you can easily care about those two characters, like when you really see their bond. And there are moments of heart in this movie, for sure. And some of the jokes do work. Yeah. Now, even though the other Winnie the Pooh movies came in around an hour, or maybe a little bit over an hour, Pooh's Heffalump movie does that too. However, I feel like for this one, it should have been longer, because it really feels like things were just very rushed into this movie, and the pacing just doesn't really let you get that invested in the movie, considering it just feels like it's whizzing by so quickly. Now, like I said, the Tigger movie did this really well. Its pacing was very well done, and same with Piglet's Big movie. And even the 2011 Winnie the Pooh handled an hour running time very well. But Pooh's Heffalump movie really does feel like it should have been a little bit longer given how the story is told. So without that much of a long running time, it's kind of hard to connect with these characters all that well, because the movie feels like it's just whizzing by that quickly. There are also a few, like, glaring issues that I couldn't help but notice in this movie. Like, for one, Tigger seems to be wondering where his family portrait is. A portrait with him, his mom, and his dad. But, wait a minute, wasn't it clearly established that in the Tigger movie, he doesn't really have a biological family, and that it was really his friends that he views as family? I mean, where'd that whole message go? I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be in the same continuity, right? Also, I don't know if it's just me who feels this way, but I feel like the main characters are a little bit more hostile in a bad way than in the previous movies. Because, I mean, they're just randomly going out to catch a Heffalump, and eventually later on in the movie where they should clearly be able to see what they're doing, they don't really think that much differently until someone actually says it to them. Like, really? Like, this goes even beyond what a Piglet's Big movie did, which, yeah, one of my main problems with that movie was that the characters broke character for a while, and did something that they really wouldn't normally do. Now, they do something similar in the 2011 Winnie the Pooh movie, but those were different circumstances. And I'll get into that once I review that movie. But in this movie, they really do seem like they are a little bit more hostile and just don't really fit well with how they were previously established in the previous movies. And if I'm really going to be honest, the songs are just not really that memorable. The only song that's really that memorable in this movie is the song Shoulder to Shoulder, but other than that, that's about it. I mean, yeah, there's the Winnie the Pooh theme song, as you would normally expect from a Winnie the Pooh movie. But other than that, there's only one song that's really that memorable. And that's kind of sad, because Carly Simon did really well with Piglet's Big Movie. So what was with this movie? In my opinion, Pooh's Heffalump movie really does come across as the producers not really knowing what to do next. Like, it feels like they're running out of ideas. And you know that writers, producers, or whatever are starting to run out of ideas when they start adding new characters into a story. Butch Hartman did that with the Fairly Odd Parents 3 fucking times. I just don't know why. Why do people feel like that they need to add new characters, especially not even doing it in a cohesive way, to maybe spark new attention? I mean, because if you're really running out of ideas to the point where you're thinking of adding new characters, which you're most likely going to just forget about later on in your show or movie franchise, then just cut your losses. Just end it. You just go out on a high note and don't end up with something like this. Now, like I said, Pooh's Heffalump movie is not an awful movie. It's not. It's not terrible, but it most certainly is the weakest out of all of the Winnie the Pooh movies. And I'm disappointed to say this, but I'm going to have to give Pooh's Heffalump movie a 4 out of 10. That's a real shame because I love the character of Winnie the Pooh. But, like I said, this isn't an awful movie. It's not terrible. It's just very disappointing. Now, I'm not putting the disappointment as a factor into my scoring system, because I don't do that. I don't really believe that an actual movie shouldn't be based on how disappointing it is. Because if I'm being honest, like I said, it's not a terrible movie. It's just, at least from my point of view, very disappointing. But in the end, it's not an awful movie, so that's why I gave it that rating. Join me soon for my last installment of my Winnie the Pooh movie review series, where I tackle Winnie the Pooh. Like, that's what the movie was called. It's the 2011 Winnie the Pooh. It's strange. It's like trying to, say the title of the 1989 Batman movie, but you just have to call it the 1989 Batman movie because no one's gonna know what you're talking about. But in any case, what do you think of Pooh's Heffalump movie? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like, share the video so we can get the channel circulated, and if you want to see more, click this.